Now, businesses in Malaysia remain cautious despite the decision by the US to reduce its tariffs on Malaysian imports, that is. But the reduction at least helps the overall cost competitiveness of Malaysian-manufactured goods in the US market. Afifah Ariffin reports.
After weeks of uncertainty that saw businesses hold back on orders and delay investment decisions, Malaysia has now secured a lower tariff rate of 19% on its exports to the US, down from the 25% that had been threatened in July. Semiconductors and pharmaceuticals will continue to enjoy zero tariffs pending a US review later. Trade Minister Tengku Zafrul Aziz stressed that Malaysia held firm on its red lines, which included no dilution of halal standards and no blanket exemptions on import licenses or foreign ownership caps.
So overall, I think given the many things that we stood firm, we are quite happy that America understands our position. Because we explain why, because of where we are in the country's development, the sensitivities and all that. And we also said that we need to continue to be competitive. We want the rate to be fair in the region with our other ASEAN neighbours. So I think we are quite satisfied, relatively speaking, where we are vis-a-vis our ASEAN partners.
The new tariff puts Malaysia on par with some of its neighbours, though it remains almost double the 10% baseline that applies to most other countries.
It's now more equal in the sense that we are in the level playing field. So I think that's important for how Malaysia would position or reposition ourselves in this global supply chain. The global trade fragmentation, trade war are still very much alive. You can still see that China has not struck a deal with USA. The geopolitical tensions are still there. Regional wars are happening, so there will still be quite a fair bit of uncertainty.
Analysts say the outcome highlights the decisive role of that last-minute phone call between Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and President Donald Trump just before the August 1st deadline. They say the government also needs to upgrade industries, diversify export markets, and make the economy less vulnerable to external shocks like these tariffs.
The structural situation is such that we need to move basically from the so-called legacy factors in terms of the segments that we have into the more advanced areas. In addition to that, we are very well plugged into the multilateral system. We have, of course, very strongly the RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and of course the CPTPP.
Now, this lower tariff may give exporters some breathing space, but the pressure is now on Malaysia to strengthen its position in the global supply chain. For many businesses, the real challenge begins now, finding ways to stay competitive in an increasingly uncertain trade environment. Afifah Ariffin, CNA, Kuala Lumpur.